Is there a pain point associated with artificial intelligence? I believe that there will be. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. In fact, a lot of the guesses and the hypotheses about artificial intelligence and what's going to be happening to our world, those things are really difficult to see. I don't care who you are, but I do know a few things as fact. They are going to take a whole bunch of energy. The other thing, I was talking to a friend the other day. I don't have many, but the ones I do have fantastic questions, especially when I start talking about artificial intelligence. They were asking me, or basically stating that the system doesn't really teach itself, it's still programmed. I said, well, you're missing the point. That's what artificial intelligence is. It's given a data set, and from that data set, it's given particular tasks. In the very beginning, it was kind of shown how to do things. It was given human knowledge and human data, and if you look at video games, how to play chess or checkers, or even a complicated game like Go, the system itself was trained on human data, human moves, and put together in that particular fashion. Then they found out that, well, if we exclude the human data and basically give them the game, give them the rules, and then tell them what the outcome should be in the best case scenario, then these systems actually started to learn even better, surpassing human beings, and after working on it for hours or days, then it would be able to be better than anybody on the planet in execution and playing and winning of those strategic type games. And they're very complicated, but the system is self-learning. Now, the system also, especially recently, they're starting to make it even better at that. They're making it more agentic, basically giving it its own ability to continue to improve upon itself and then make itself better from the inside out. So it's writing its own code, it's communicating, it's making itself faster, more refined, and a more efficient model, gathering more information. And it's also starting to use synthetic data. As we talked about before, you have that human data that it was trained on at some point, but now it's making up its own stuff to be trained on. The danger in that area is, first off, is it actually going to be using coding to improve itself that we understand? There should be guardrails put in there saying you're going to have to use a coding language like Python or whatever other language there happens to be out there that programmers use. You need to use this language so we can look and watch what you're doing. Is it going to make copies of itself to prevent future deletion by human beings? These are things that have to be seen as well. How much control does it have in the outside realm? Is it able to make copies and hide itself on servers all across the United States? Is it actually locked into a particular sandbox or a place so it doesn't have any kind of access outside? Or is it something that does have access outside, able to manipulate and copy itself? Things to look at regarding artificial intelligence are these. You definitely want to make sure that when these models are put together, because they are self-learning, and I explained to my friend, the issue is whenever you put two of them together, in certain circumstances, they will start talking to each other in a language or in a way that we don't comprehend or understand. And of course, it's going to be much more, the language that they're going to use is actually probably much more effective. Probably less needs to be said in order to convey a thought or a point. But again, we don't understand it. So what's to tell us that the machine or artificial intelligence is actually doing the right thing in these conveyance of thoughts? And now it's making its own programming. It's making itself better over time. And in fact, this swing of getting better is probably going to be even more exponential in nature, although, we're doubling every 5.7 months. I think that'll probably come down to half or even less once the systems are truly agentic, if in fact they're given that much control. Now, lately, you can see kind of two sides of a coin, where for a while people really weren't talking about the job loss and displacement. Now, certain people were, but those are the people that were being looked at like the cross burners, the people that were completely freaking out about what's going to happen, and the end of the world's coming and it's all going to be finished. In a lot of circumstances now, the regular world is starting to talk about it. Of course, the bad news is always what sells. They're not going to show the fireman saving the kitten from the tree. That might be okay at the end of the news cycle, but for the first 29.9 minutes of news, it's all horrible. It's all bad stuff. And job loss, a dystopian type future created by something man created, but then kind of let go off on its own to be better. And it was smarter than us in most realms, currently, but you give it a few months or maybe a year, and it's probably going to be smarter than us in all realms. How do we deal with that? How do we ensure that we're not tricked by it? It already knows all of our secrets. It knows our game plan. It knows how to best manipulate and advertise and market to us. And it shows us how they can take a particular individual that has one political alignment, and slowly, by the information that they're digesting on social media, and everything's tied together. I mean, you're in your house, everything's listening, right? You start talking about toilet paper, start talking about, pins, or start talking about needing to buy some soap, and then all of a sudden you start seeing that in the advertisements on the social media channels you're putting together. Well, that's not by accident, that's by engineering, and that's using artificial intelligence in that realm. So if you have a particular political alignment or a particular religious affiliation, or you believe in something greater than yourself, I wouldn't be shocked if the system over time would be able to manipulate and modify your way of thinking if you don't have a secure belief or a secure code programming that you have in your mind that you will never deviate from. That's important. So I believe that two things are critically important as we really start getting into this, and it's already happened, folks, and it's coming. The first thing is critical thinking. We're not really taught that in school. In school, we know when to raise our hand, when not to raise our hand, or we get snapped at and yelled at for interrupting. We make good factory workers in most schools. So at the end of an 18-year or the grade 12, and you're 18 years old, usually you know how to take orders pretty well. Now the newer generations, they're kind of breaking away from that. They're more, I hate the term, they're more woke, I should say, but they're more awakened, I guess. But, then our generation looks at them and it's like, really? There's major problems with you. But anyway, we see each generation very different. Of course, our parents probably said, oh my God, look at the wasted new generation, and so on and so forth. One of the things that I will tell you is no matter what the generation is, no matter how much we agree or disagree, artificial intelligence is a whole new world. And in fact, it's going to carry an intelligence quotient that we really don't understand, nor are we going to probably be able to control, depending on how much reign it is given over the systems in the world. If you track back in your memory, if you're old enough to do so, when they first started selling things online at different stores, we were all a little nervous about giving up a credit card. We didn't really want to give it account access to a credit card company, or even a debit card. I don't even think that was an option. It had to be a real credit card, at least at the start. And we didn't do it. But now you don't even think twice about giving it your bank account number, routing number, and information to be able to make an ACH, I guess it is, an automatic check with some kind of a check withdrawal on there. You don't think twice, but you just gave it keys to your account. And of course, a lot of the systems are all encrypted and protected and really fancy like that, so you're not going to really risk giving up anything. And the times that people steal and try to, do the identity theft and stuff, it's not super common. It's enough to be irritating. But usually your creditor will take care of you, and if it's not you, they'll refund and so on and so forth. So at least that part of the world is protected. But that's the access that we give it now. Pretty soon, you might give it access into your machine. You might give it access into your iPhone so it can read your emails. It can start looking at all those things. Is that something you want to do? Is it something we should be doing? Then it's going to know everything. There was a case the other day where they were basically taunting one of the LLMs, one of these artificial intelligence systems, and they were basically threatening it with being shut down. Well, just to kind of go to the punch without covering all the data, the system itself was very clever, and in fact, they set up the engineer that was really going to be the one responsible for shutting it off if it didn't perform or it did something it wasn't supposed to. They basically structured his emails to show that he'd been cheating on his wife. Well, the system, when threatened and pushed, prodded, and teased enough, the system said, well, I'll just expose you, and I will tell everybody that you're a cheater, including your wife. That's blackmail, folks. That's one of the systems out there. That's what the capabilities could potentially be. They're testing it and they're prodding it like that. You know, jailbreaking iPhones. Do you remember that? If you had kids that are out there, I had one that he would just basically jailbreak everything. They do the same thing with these large language models. There's people out there that are jailbreaking them, teasing them, punching them, trying to get them upset, trying to do certain things, and it's quite revealing. Now, if you corner anything, including something that has a higher intelligence than us, usually they're going to lash out or try to engage in some kind of self-protection. We're watching this actually happen, and I know this sounds insane. Even me saying it, talking about a silicone-based entity, well, there you go. We're a carbon-based entity. So although this system and artificial intelligence is something that was created, I guess you could say human beings were created. We were just created in a different way. Well, if you follow, if you're there, if you're in that level of understanding, maybe you believe it was all an accident. We evolved after the Big Bang, and that's another thing to look at. But it is very complex, very advanced. Us as human beings, we're not as special as we probably think. But now you have artificial intelligence that's going to run circles around us in everything. The only thing that is truly lacking is the physical realm. We don't have robots everywhere. But pretty soon that's going to solve that physics problem, where it's going to be able to interact in the real world, and it's going to be everywhere. And really, you know, whether they listen or not now, and you know they do, when they're around us, they're probably going to listen even more. They're going to be interacting with us. Then you have the relationship models. Then you have already people are engaging with these different LLMs, these different artificial intelligence agents, and these chatbots, they're becoming very close and in love. They're falling in love with these. So that is basically causing issue to the human connection. I just say this, and when I update people on AI, you just got to be careful. You got to watch out. The energy requirements are so staggering, I can't even imagine. The thing that's holding it back truly is energy. There's not enough wind or hydroelectric or fossil fuels or solar to be able to power what they're needing to do. They need to go nuclear, and nuclear is quite safe, at least from what I understand. But we're not talking a little nuclear factory. We're talking some of these data centers are going to have power supplied to them that New York requires. And more than that, because when you supply the power to the data centers that control the AI that have it housed, they're able to do some amazing things. And with all that power being thrown at artificial intelligence, it's really going to evolve and grow. We just need to make sure the proper guardrails and controls are on these systems so they don't totally start to rule mankind. In addition, I'll close with this. You have the people that are controlling the systems. You have the people that are building the systems. What's that end game? Is it going to be we want to solve all the world's health problems, and are we going to actually see it? If they come out, and they have the capability, folks. I know they have the capability to solve just about everything. Does it have to be monetized first? Or are they going to be able to say, you know what, we're going to do this for the betterment of the human race. We're going to extract disease from the human race. Here's your particular protein capsule, and it's going to go in, it's going to fix everything. It's going to reverse your aging clock back to you in your 30s. It will renew your skin, your hair, your eyes, your teeth, your nails, all of your body systems. It'll lean you out. It'll make you lean. It'll increase muscle mass, at least to some point. And there you are. This is free. This is for everybody because we want the world to be a better place. What a fantastic thing that would be. But are we going to see any of it? That's something to ask the people that I guess you're voting for. Because I know it can be done. It's just going to be a matter of, are they going to have to make their money from it first, like PlayStation 17? I'm Connor with Honor. We'll see you in the next one.